the beauty, the glory of the whole experience as the beach is just lined with thousands of people singing the choruses and praising the Lord, then walking out into the water and the burying of the past, and then when they realize that all of the past is gone, that it's all been buried, that God has absolutely nothing against them. The slate is clean. It's a brand new life now with Jesus. And not only that, even as the Spirit descended upon Jesus after his baptism, their hearts are open and they just receive the power of God's Spirit to live that new life that the Lord wants them to live. And it's indescribable.
Keeper of the stars, Lord of time and space, I will live my life lifting up your name.
Here is a man and a woman that for 17 years, nothing has happened to them. They've had it tough. And then all of a sudden, at God's divine time, God begins to use Chuck and Kay, and it becomes a world movement.
The Lord just chose for this time to pour out his Spirit upon this troubled youth. And many, many thousands came to know Christ, during which was called the Jesus Movement by Life magazine, I think. And it was true. Jesus was moving.
God was doing something special in the Jesus movement. And the Jesus movement was bigger than Calvary Chapel, obviously. But God had such a unique role for Pastor Chuck and Calvary Chapel to play in that. What Pastor Chuck did was he brought these lives that were being changed in this outpouring of God that is often called the Jesus movement. And he really connected them to church.
God has used him in an unparalleled way because he's stuck to the Word and he's taught the Word. I sometimes think if you squeeze Chuck, the Word of God would squirt out.
He's a man who puts God first, and he is a role model. If a young pastor's come along, who do you want to shape your ministry after? Shape it after Chuck Smith, you won't go wrong.
One day, as I was sitting in the little church on Sunflower in Greenville, this group of hippies, or guys, came in, and they said, we're musicians, and the Lord has given us, we all accepted the Lord here, last week, and the Lord's giving us some Christian music, and we'd like to share it here if we could. And I was a little skeptical, but I said, well, can you give me a demonstration? They said, yeah. And so they went out and got their guitars and all out of their van, and their instruments, and they came on, the bass and all, and they started singing this song, and as they started singing, it was so moving, so touching. I started weeping. And so I said, it's Monday, and I said, we have a Monday night study with the kids. Can you come tonight? And they said, well, one of our lead guitarists is doing weekends in jail, but he gets out at noon, and so we can probably make it. He was doing a marijuana rap on weekends, and so they came that Monday night, and it was just electrifying. Long hair, short hair, some coats and ties, people finally coming around, looking past the hair, straight into the eyes, people finally coming around. It was a story of what was happening during this great movement among the young people.